How's everything?
It happens, no worries. It's doing pretty good over here, just relaxing and getting ready for the holidays.
Nice. Are you celebrating with anyone?
Yeah, today is November 22nd, 2022, so it's Tuesday right before everything, but tomorrow I'm going to be celebrating with my parents and my brother, and we're going to Dearborn Heights, Michigan, and having a turkey dinner. And
Oh,
then
nice.
on Thursday, we're meeting with the extended family, probably about 20 people, a couple of babies, and a few dogs now. So we're going over to Livonia area and doing the whole family deal over there.
Oh, that's really nice.
What about you? Yeah.
We're gonna do like a Thanksgiving with my family and my daughter. We usually do like an afternoon thing on Thursday, and then her dad takes her, and then going over to some other extended family in the evening. So it should be nice.
Very good. Yeah, it's always nice to get together with the family, and not have to worry about presents or like the Christmas thing, I think.
Yeah, no, for sure. I just can't eat any of the turkey. They make it in peanut oil, and I'm super allergic. So
Oh no.
yeah, that's okay though.
So no nuts, no pistachios or pecans or anything like
I
that.
mean, some of them are okay, but definitely none of the pistachios or peanuts.
Okay. Very good. So we got Jessica Klima on today, and this is the EricSwahnRacing.com podcast number 122. So thank you for coming on and talking to me for about an hour or so.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm super excited.
So you're a big motorsports person in the community. So I just wanted to get your story and learn a little bit more about you.
I really appreciate you asking me to be on. That's really cool. There's not a lot of women, especially that ride around here on the East Coast. Like I live in New Jersey. So when I first started going to the track, I maybe knew like two other women that did it. It's definitely like a boys' sport, but I could not enjoy it more. I went from street riding. I got my license at like 19 years old. My mom and I took one of those like motorcycle riders courses.
Yeah.
We got our licenses, and then both my parents ride Harleys, so that's always been a thing. So my mom and I got our licenses, and then I had a Sportster for a while, but I really just wanted to go fast and like lean the bike more. So after I had my daughter, I had some time off, and then I found track riding in New Jersey, and I've been just addicted to it ever since.
Yeah. So what's the difference like coming from a Sportster or a Harley type bike to a sport bike?
I mean, just the power that the sports bikes have and the ability to like get so much more lean angle and so much more grip, it's just uncomparable. I mean, I would do like long distance riding, whereas on the sport bike, it's not so fun.
A
Um,
little less comfortable on the sport bike than for long distance.
yeah, just a little bit, a little bit on the back. As I get older, that's more important. I was actually considering maybe going over to like an SB 650. Um, from the R6 that I have now because the R6 is just so aggressive, and it's definitely been a challenge for me to try to ride it the best that I can. Like it definitely fights you back if you're not 100% like into it. So,
Got to be really in tune with the machine and what it's telling you, all that feedback and everything,
mhm.
for
It's
sure.
definitely something that was a learning curve for me because I had a Gixxer 750 I rode on the street majorly. And then I got a Gixxer 1000, and that was my first track bike. So it was a huge difference. And then I got this R6, and I'm like, oh, it's a 600. I don't need a 600. And then I was like, okay, I'm sorry. I was wrong.
So tell me about the difference of the two bikes, the 1000 cc versus 600 at the racetrack. What do you think is a better one to start on, and why'd you go back to the 600?
Um, well, I'm actually now considering possibly going to try a 400 out. I think I really want to see opening. I haven't had that like ability yet to open the throttle fully on a small bike to really see what it can do. But I know so many guys that race in CCS who have smaller bikes who are really big guys, and they're really good. So I think the difference was I had so much more power on the 1000. I think as you begin to get into track riding or racing, um, starting on a smaller bike gives you like more ability to learn how to really get your entrances and exits on your corners. Where the 1000, I just feel like there's just so much power. And yes, I can blow by you on the street, but I'm gonna definitely outbrake you and like outrun you in the corners on a 600.
Yeah. Yeah, it's way different. Everybody thinks they want to start on the fastest bike possible, get their engine done, get all these go fast parts, but really it's in motorcycle riding and racing, it's about skill rather than horsepower.
Mm-hmm. Definitely a lot of practice, as much seat time as you can get. I mean, given my R6, I bought it from one of my other friends who raced, so like it has everything on it already.
Yeah, ready to
But,
go.
but I mean, I gotta be honest, like it's definitely a different kind of experience getting used to fine tuning a motorcycle if you're not a mechanical kind of person. Like I don't do my bike work. It's just not my scope of area.
Yeah.
So for me, like understanding how the suspension works and everything else to fine tune it, like I always say, like I'm just like the pilot of the rocket ship. I'm not NASA. I didn't build it.
Yeah.
So understanding for me how to adjust that kind of stuff or have someone else adjust it for me made a huge difference. Because initially when I got it, I had the wrong suspension set up and like it really killed me.
Maybe like the wrong springs or damping or rebound, that kind of thing.
Yeah, everything was basically wrong. And like it was not set for my weight. It was set for someone much bigger than me. And it just really was problematic.
Yeah, and then it can hinder your turning ability, it can hinder your confidence, and it can make it really difficult if you're not if it's not feeling right for you, if it's way too stiff or something like that.
Sorry. Yeah, my
Okay.
allergies are crazy terrible up here in New Jersey. I'm sorry, give me 1 second. Yeah, so basically when I first got my R6, like I said, the suspension was not set up for myself well. And the only way I could describe it, it was like riding, you're like on a bear with a chain and you're trying to like drag it around the track in the front. And then the rear just felt like it was on ice. It was just like sliding all over the place. And that's not something I really had felt coming from the 1000. I had rode it for like a few years already. And like I felt the Gixxer and I were like an Autobot. Like you get on it, you're like boop, 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 and you're like already in it. And the R6 is like, no, and it's like a Bronco. And it's like, just get off. And like that's what it was. It was crazy. I've never rode a motorcycle and felt like it was trying to kill me before. So
Yeah, so it sounds like you've had a couple different motorcycles. It sounds like you're not brand loyal, just whatever comes, whatever fits.
I love the Suzukis and I love the Gixxers. Like I only rode Gixxers for years. Until I got to the track. And then everyone was like, you have so much potential and you can do so much better. So why not try the R6? Everyone's like, if you want to be like really good, you got to get an R6. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna do it. And I did it. And then I was, it's been a challenge. We've
Yeah,
had
it's
a very rocky relationship, I would say.
it seems like the R6 is a very popular bike to be on. They're doing well in a lot of different championships, the Yamahas. Maybe
Mhm.
not always at the top, but close to the top. And there's so many people riding those R6. There's always parts around, and there's information and data
Exactly.
available. Um, but I was always the kind of guy, I'm like, I want to be different. I got to get a Kawasaki because you don't see too many Kawasaki's on the grid.
Mhm.
And I think it's really just about what fits you and what you're comfortable with.
Yeah, it's definitely been a learning curve to see like really what's good. I have another friend who rides Cowies and like that's just his bike. He loves them and like that's all he wants to ride. I think like your body shape, how tall you are, different things like your torso, how long your legs are, everything takes like into consideration what kind of bike is the best bike for you. But I do know guys also who can jump on anybody's bike and be fast. It's just natural talent.
Sure.
But yeah, for me, honestly, like I'm almost 38 years old. So I got into like track riding a little bit later on in life. I already had a kid and like, as a woman, it can be very difficult to like move parts of your body around on the motorcycle. Like sometimes like my chest will hit it and I'll like mess myself up really bad because it's just part
Yeah.
of riding. Um, but I think as I've learned, some of the coaches don't take those things into consideration. They're just like, yeah, just like get it right off the bike. And I'm like, well, I have an air vest on over my suit and then the canister, like gets caught in the tank, and it's not just like such an easy motion sometimes. Like that took me a long time to kind of get used to. But I feel like on a Gixxer, I didn't have that problem as much. On the R6, because of like the forward facing aggressive stance on it, it's a lot more difficult.
And did you notice any difference in your lap time switching from the 1000 cc to 600? You losing
Yeah,
maybe
I
60
got faster.
horsepower.
I actually got faster.
So you lose 60 horsepower and you actually go faster.
Yeah,
Isn't that amazing?
I know. I was like, I never thought that would happen. I was on track a couple years ago, just at a track day with another young lady who rides motorcycles, and like she's got a Ducati. It's got more CCs than mine, but like that R6 will rip you in the corners, man. That's where you lose it. So
For sure. I think it's awesome that it's not about your engine in this sport. I mean, it definitely helps, but
mhm.
it's not the only factor. So it makes it more of an even playing field. It's like, well, what's your skill level, and it makes it more interesting that way.
For sure. I agree. I mean, I
And
think as MotoGP wise, like, yeah, I guess it's going to be about your engine and all your extra stuff, because those guys are on like such an elite level that it doesn't matter. But for everybody else, I really think it comes down more to skill level than just your bike.
yeah, for sure, at the amateur, expert, or even national professional level, it's so much about skill level. But at some point, if everybody's at the pinnacle of their abilities, then yeah, the machine is a bigger
Yeah.
factor.
Yes. But I feel like for everybody else, yeah, definitely more skill than anything.
And I think I found you on social media, maybe Instagram. You're a Special K racer.
Yes.
And does that mean you're sponsored by like Special K cereal?
No. It's just been a nickname I've had most of my life. I used to be in competitive swimming and some other stuff, so that's always just been my nickname.
It's always stuck.
Yeah.
All right. Um, I get that. And what's on your mind? Is there anything you wanted to talk about today within the sport, or anything? We could talk about any subject. Doesn't have to be racing, or dive into racing more.
Um, I mean, like for myself, I did 2 rounds with Moto Girl, which was with CCS in New Jersey. That definitely brought like a lot to because I was told like, oh, you're gonna just be racing with women, but like when we grid it up, like it's 600s and above. And then yes, I have my own grid with women, but we're in the back of all the 1000, the guys with 1000s. And I was like, okay, well, this is just gonna be really, I think it was a little bit much for me my first time. I gotta be honest. And like I said, my R6 wasn't set up for myself, and I didn't even realize it at the time. Um, but I wish there was more ways to bring women into the sport, and like just be women's focus, because I think a lot of times some of the guys are intimidating to a lot of women. Like most of my friends are guys. Obviously, I'm track riding and I'm one of the few girls there, so it's I don't think everyone has that like ability to just be like, oh yeah, it's okay, like we'll just go ride with the guys. I know one girl I used to ride with, she had an accident, and ever since then she's been like nervous to go back on track, and was just like stuck in this intermediate group because she was like, I don't want to push. All the other guys are faster. And I'm like, don't worry about everybody else. Just like do your thing. Um, I definitely want to give a shout out to Fresh Oil and Co. They're awesome. They're one of my
Yeah.
sponsors. They make great motorcycle clothing, and it's literally like the softest shirts I've ever had.
Do they
Like I
supply?
don't just wear them because I'm sponsored. Like they're literally the nicest, softest clothes. So
Do they actually sell oil, or just as apparel brand?
no, it's an apparel brand.
Okay.
It's like
Uh,
a lifestyle brand. So it's all about like motorcycle riding and just being in the community with people.
sure, I get that. That's really cool to hear. And
Hmm.
so racing in New Jersey, you're at probably New Jersey Motorsports Park.
Yeah, I used to ride a lot there. Not last year. Unfortunately, I had a street accident in April.
Ah,
So it left me kind of banged up. I broke my shoulder, I tore my labrum, I ended up having knee surgery.
oh
So
man.
yeah, we're like 2 or 3 surgeries in now from April. it's been a long one. Honestly, I hadn't rode on the street in years, and I got rear-ended by another bike and then run over by someone else splitting lanes. So
Ah,
yeah, on a bridge coming out of Philadelphia. It was quite scary.
nasty.
So I don't think I'm going to be going back to street riding at
That's what I was
all.
gonna ask. The difference between street riding and track riding. What's your opinion?
The difference between street riding and track riding. I think the track is way safer. That's hands down for sure. You know, you don't have people on their cell phones and the trucks, and you know, we might have oil, but like they cleaned it up. You know what I mean? The conditions are just way more controlled. Also, I think that when you're riding on the track, there's a community of people. A lot of us all know each other, and there's kind of like a sense of responsibility and family that comes along with that. So, you know, I don't know the people that hit me. The one guy took off.
Hmm.
Nobody ever found him again. So, you know, I've been left with bills and broken motorcycles and a broken body. And there was just no care. Like, wow, you could have really ruined someone's life. When you go to the track and you're riding with, like, I call my track family, like, they all take care of each other. Something happens, we all want to pitch in to help. You know, I work in the medical field outside of riding. So whenever there's like a big issue, I always offer to help out because why not give back where you can? So just the responsibility level, I think, is so much greater. At the track on the street, it's kind of like a free for all. You know, if you don't know people, you go on those big group rides. I used to do a lot of big group rides with my parents on the Harleys, but you know, I feel like there's a lot less in that kind of cruiser community with issues on big group rides than when we're all on sports bikes. Everybody wants to go fast. Everyone wants to do wheelies. Um, I don't do wheelies, but you know, that's I like my skin, as I say.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I just think like the sense of responsibility and family is so much greater. And I really enjoy that part of it. Like I miss my friends from the track.
Yeah, I mean, there's been times where I've ended up in the hospital from a bad crash, and there were people at the hospital literally holding my hand from the racetrack. I'm like, "Oh,
Mhm.
you came. Thank you so much." You know, like they were just there for you, and
Yeah.
that's pretty rare, I think.
I had such like an outpouring from the community when I got hurt, and I really like appreciate everybody because, you know, without a lot of these people, like I never would be able to go back riding again. It's
Yeah.
definitely gonna take me some like pushing. My one friend's like, "You just have to do it." They're like, "You'll be fine. You'll just got to do it again." And I was like, "I know, I want to. Trust me. I'm just taking my time healing up so that I can be in the best kind of condition as possible for when I come back."
So this injury doesn't deter you at all from the sport. You still want to keep doing it.
Oh yeah, I'm absolutely gonna go back to riding.
All right, and
It brings me like I don't know how to put it. There is something about motorcycle riding that for me just brings such clarity. You know, with my career and I have a child and just, you know, everyday stuff. There's like so much, you know, burden that a lot of people feel in the world on a daily basis. And it just clears my mind completely. There is nothing besides me and my motorcycle when I'm riding. And
yeah,
like you have this like perfect, just like quiet peacefulness. And nothing else I've ever found gives me that.
it's
So
really like a an active meditation, I think, because it's one of those things where you can't focus on your daily life when you're riding a motorcycle at 100+ miles an hour. You have to
yeah,
be in the moment and in that flow, otherwise things are going to go wrong.
exactly. And it's like
So
just connecting with the bike and like feeling every little feedback it gives you, the tires, like the throttle, everything, like you feel it all. And it's just so focusing. It's like meditation almost.
yeah, for sure. And so it sounds like you've done a little bit of racing. Are you a novice, expert, professional,
No, I was a novice racer. I
novice
only did
racer?
yeah, I did the two races with Moto Girl. I don't believe they brought Moto Girl back with CCS, and I probably would want to do some more extra like smaller organizational racing if that. Um, I did come to find that some of how do I want to say this? Some of the on and off track behavior of the racing community I really didn't find to be attractive. Like I said like my track family, and then there's like a racing family. But then some people are just so competitive about it. Like unless you're going out winning big bucks and you're professionally like factory sponsored, we're putting our lives on the line for racing. Maybe I'll just stick to my track days and my fast friends over there, because it's definitely um a different way of looking at things. Like sometimes I feel like I have more to lose than will be worth for racing.
Yeah, it's a totally different mentality, but usually there's a pretty high level of respect. But when it comes to is it me or you, and we're going for the same corner, same space, like sometimes it
Mhm.
gets a little hairy.
Yeah, I there's just been some not cool things go on, so I feel like it might be better just to stick to track riding and enjoy my time to ride as my own.
I hear that. I've heard some people would always I've seen it where they're always put their bikes and load everything pretty much back into their trailer and lock it up and take it with them at the end of the night. And I'm over
Mhm.
here with my open trailer, like what am I supposed to do? Like I can't lock
Yeah.
it up anywhere. But
Like, right there.
I've never had any issues with like people messing with my bike that I know of that I found. But you hear some things sometimes, but I think it's pretty rare.
Yeah. I think it probably could also because you guys are out more western than where we are. I feel like there is a level of competitiveness in this area, which is ridiculous. I live in the New York metropolitan area, and like everyone wants everything now, and everyone wants to be the best. And if you're good, you're good, and you have nothing to worry about. But then, people get into spats online with other people, and it can just be like a little aggressive for my
Yeah.
taste.
There was one, I won't mention any names, but there's one guy when I was racing. We never got really into any arguments or anything like that, but we were always like competitive and like he might win a race and I might win a race or be in front of the other person. And one time he was on the forums and he was saying like I'll never post my full races on here because then people can learn from me and like steal my lines and things like that. And I was like, and then I just posted in the same thread like all my race videos, like right after he said that. I'm like, here it is. Like if anybody wants to try to learn from me, like I'm not
Yeah,
hiding
give them
anything.
everything.
And
Hmm.
you can watch a video all day and not be able to do it in real life.
Absolutely. I agree.
So
And
it
that's
was,
nice. I mean, like that's helping other people out because I wouldn't want to like hinder anybody from getting better ever. Like all I want to do is like support you and like help you out.
yeah. And one day the student might be beating the master, and I'm aware of that. But like
Exactly.
that's a risk you got to take to help boost the entire community.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that's like a super big deal also because people don't always have like the best coaches. Yes, we have coaches who are safe at track days and things like that, but you're not going to get like one-on-one kind of, instruction. I did California Superbike School. I did 2 levels of them, and then I was gonna go to Champ School, but then I had my accident. So
And what'd you think of California Superbike School?
it was definitely a nice way to like break into track riding. I did it when I was like first really brand new because I didn't know a lot of the basics. Like I come from an area where I was on a cruiser, so the way you ride a cruiser and the way you ride a sports bike are different, you know what I mean? And then when I got to the track and they're like, oh, you don't use your rear brake, and I was like, excuse me. I was like, okay, that was a big. They're like, yeah, you don't use your rear brake. I was like, wow, okay,
Completely
this is
backwards.
what.
It's very backwards to typical street riding.
Yeah, so it was definitely a huge change, and I think that kind of helped ease me into becoming a better track rider. I wish there was more like organization, but I just feel like we don't have enough numbers of women to do like they run like I think once a year they do a women's event up at New York Safety Track. Um, but it's not through them, it's through I think Ruts to Race Lines, which does like dirt bikes and stuff like that. And they do racing also for all women.
Okay.
Yeah. But I know like, they have Femwala out in California every year, which is a huge all women's, I think like 2 or 3 days of riding. That's definitely something I was trying to get out to also because I think that opportunity would just be amazing because there's like really high level riders who can give more female specific instruction.
Yeah. I think a lot of the track days is what I started with. And that's how I got a lot faster just from doing track days, with different organizations. But um, typically, your standard track day is like mainly a track day with coaches on the side. They might
Mm-hmm.
have instruction for like the novice classrooms, and there are coaches there, but it's not nearly as structured as like a California Superbike or a Champ
Yeah.
School or a Jason DeSalvo Speed Academy, something like that. So you're really getting a lot of track time with a side of coaching. The other ones
Mhm.
are the opposite. It's like this is all coaching and then you get track time.
Yes. And I think that's like such a big deal, especially if you can do like a 3 to 4 people per coach. Even just the information you get at that, I think California Super Bike School was like 3 or 4 people to one coach.
Yeah.
Because they're more like control riders. They're just making sure you're not, breaking all the rules, and they'll pull some people around. I have to say, New York Safety Track does a pretty good job with their coaches. If you really need help from someone, they will give you time if you go up to them.
Yeah, and I'm super excited to say, I don't know if you heard this on some of the past podcasts, but I am going to be a coach for California Superbike School starting in
Mhm.
February and March. So I'm just going through the binder of information I have to memorize. And like I've been riding and racing for I think 11 years now, and it's still like I still have to study all this stuff
All the stuff.
to like teach exactly how they want it to be taught, not just like tell them, willy
How
nilly
do you do it?
what you think is good for them. It's like we're on level one, drill one. Let's talk
Hmm.
about that only, and let's not move ahead to like group uh to level three, exercise two. You can't jump ahead because you miss some of the fundamentals.
Yes. And congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
That's super exciting. I mean, um, I've the people that run the organization there are like such great people, and I've had such a great experience. And Laura, Dylan's wife, she and I still like chat sometimes on Instagram, and like they're just such nice, genuine people. And I think the way the program is structured as someone who's coming new into riding on the track is, like I said, great because again, they have like street riding and you're just like basically going really fast in a straight line and trying to avoid cars and then stop.
Yeah,
And then and then you have track riding, which is completely different.
right.
And yes, you can lean your bike on the street. It's just a different thing. But yeah, I love California Superbike School, and that's super awesome. And I hope you enjoy riding around with them because they go to some awesome places.
Yeah, it's I think 6 countries, maybe 10 or 11 states for 2023. So I should be doing right now the schedule is looking like 76 on track days of coaching. And then I'm gonna be on a brand new 2023 BMW S1000 RR next year.
Fun.
So in only a couple months, I'm counting down the days. It's like 100 and some days right now. So super excited. I'd never been on a 1000 really before. So
Okay.
um it'll be a whole new different amount of horsepower, and they have tons of electronics. There's a rain mode, a race
So many
mode.
That's what I was just going to say. So when I went to Superbike school, I rented the BMWs every time I went.
Yeah.
And honestly, on the BMW coming from the GSXR, it was super comfortable. Even I think like the positioning on it was a little more upright than like the R6s.
Okay.
For me anyway, and I'm like 5'7". Um, and like all of the electronics, so many modes, like anti-wheelie mode, rain mode, all these things, and like they go around, they set you up for it, which is really nice because I was like, I don't know how to do any of this. I was like, I don't want to do it, but the bike itself is super comfortable and like really fun to ride. It was like
Yeah.
one of the best. I remember like the second time I went, I was like, this is the best day of my whole life. Like, this is so great.
It's like a rocket ship.
Mm-hmm. It literally is like a rocket ship. So are you gonna go to the other countries also? Are you doing multi-countries or are you staying in the US?
I don't think that's on the table for me my first year. I'm not sure how exactly that works because I know they go to like India and Philippines and Spain,
Mm-hmm.
UK, US, maybe Portugal. I would love to, but I think I gotta pass the US stage
The
first and
US
then
ones.
maybe learn some new languages. I don't know if they're fluent in English in all those other countries, so might have to do some language studies, which I'd love to do. Um, but yeah, and I know some of the other countries. I think Australia is one of them that they go to as well, and
Mm-hmm.
I think they're on Kawasaki's over there, so it's a different ZX10 model,
Oh,
different
really?
brand.
I
I'm pretty
didn't know
sure.
that. That's
So
cool.
I think they use different brands for maybe different countries. Um, but yeah, that would definitely be the plan. But I'm actually just planning my move to Las Vegas for another job, another coaching job. I got a supercar coaching job experience.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just planning the move now and just looking up budget rental trucks and what's the cheapest way I can move 2,000 miles across the country, because that's going to be coming up probably January 12th. So
Oh, nice.
looking to do that.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So I
That's
got
what
some.
you got a busy schedule coming up there.
Yeah, and this one in Vegas, it doesn't really rain too often there, and it doesn't snow too often there, so they're open like 364 days a year. So my main focus will be the California Superbike, but that's part-time. So
Mhm.
then the rest of the time I'll be doing supercar driving experience coaching.
That's awesome.
So hopefully those two
As
can
many
support
track days
me.
as possible.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
be at the track as much as I can, almost every day of the year, except for travel days, going to a different track, and just trying to fill up my life with making money, being at the racetrack, and helping other people.
that's awesome. Living the dream.
Heck yeah! It just doesn't feel like it right now because I got these pending jobs, but not a whole lot right now. So I'm like in a holding pattern. It feels like.
I get that. Yeah, because when I had my accident, it was like the job I had at the time, and like I said, I work in the medical field. They were terrible about it. So I have gone on to newer things, but always trying to improve. I'm like 2 classes away from my master's. So
Oh, congratulations!
yeah,
That's exciting.
thanks. Yeah, I mean, it's been working where in the field that I work, like you never stop going to school. It's kind of tiresome, actually. I'm like, can I just take a break now?
You're like I've learned all the things I need to know.
Now you're just making me write papers for no reason.
So,
Basically,
what are you studying? I know you're in the medical field, but are you getting
I'm
deeper
a
into
nurse,
that?
so yeah, basically it's I work in New Jersey, and it's like when you work in the school systems, you go for education. So it's a master's in education with curriculum planning and like school nursing. So it's all community-based nursing.
Okay, very
Yeah.
cool. I thought I wanted to
Basically.
be a nurse years ago. I became a CNA in high school,
Hmm.
but I did a couple hundred hours at the VA hospital in Detroit, and I was like, I don't know if this is right for me. I was working in the hospice and rehab side of things, and that was a
Okay.
tough job as a
Yeah,
18, 19-year-old.
that's a difficult field in general to work. Because like I'm a nurse manager currently for a home care company that does pediatrics for kids. So um I used to like deliver babies, and I was a CNA for 3 4 years in a hospital before I became a nurse. And it's definitely a difficult hospice. Rehab geriatrics can be very tiresome and very heavy work.
Yeah, I remember like most of the people I met when I started there were like dead by the time I left, and it's like that's tough, like for
Yeah.
anybody, regardless of your age.
Well, especially like you can build attachments to people if you're taking care of them every day. It's not just someone that comes to the emergency room, you give them medicine, and you send them home, and then you might not see them again for who knows how long.
Yeah,
It's definitely a detachment, a learned detachment from a situation.
for sure. And with your injuries, did you ever get shit from other nurses or medical professionals like, why are you riding motorcycles? I hear like I've been, checking in the hospital for x-rays and they're like, you should stop riding. Like, you can't tell me that. Like,
Yeah, actually, with my accident, they took me to the trauma center in Camden, New Jersey, and the people in the trauma center were like, I told them I used a medical term when I was talking to them, and the doctor goes, "Oh, you must be a nurse." He's like, "Don't you know better?" And I was like, "All right." They actually let me take off my custom race suit because I had my race gear on. I won't ride without it. So like they let me take off my own suit. They didn't cut it off me, and I was like, "Thank you for saving me money."
Yeah, it gets expensive when they cut your boots off and cut your suit off. Like there's nothing wrong with my feet. Why did you do this?
Yeah, that's why I was like, "I can stand. I'll do it myself." I was like, "All right." But it was weird because like they let me take off my boots, they let me take off my suit, and then they strapped me down at the cup, everything else off. And I was like, I just took everything off by myself. This was unnecessary at this point. Like clearly I'm not bleeding or broken like that. So,
Yeah,
but yeah, at least I didn't have any of my fractures. Nothing came out of the skin, so everything was like internal. Thank God for my race equipment. Really, I have a historic GP. He's out here in New Jersey. They made my custom race suit, and like it's amazing because
awesome.
I slid across a bridge.
Oh
So
yeah,
I
and that
was
with all
like
the
rolling and
grates.
sliding. Yeah. So like it was really fun. But the suit held up so well.
That's good.
Yeah.
And in all my crashes, I think I'm just under 20, but I've never had a cut or abrasion on any of my skin. It's always been like, yeah, there's bruising or you might sprain something or a broken
Mm,
bone here or there, but never, I never needed a skin graft or like never had any cuts or scrapes.
thank God. That's like the worst. I feel like I'll break a bone inside any day
Yeah.
over that.
And a lot of times, like I would say I'd rather have a break than a bad sprain.
Oh, for sure, because that'll heal way faster.
Yeah, I don't understand quite how that works. Like a break heals faster than a torn ligament even or like an
It's just
ACL
new
tear.
regeneration.
Yeah.
When you
Is
gotta
it
start from scratch again, it heals faster than trying to heal something that's just damaged and that doesn't have the ability to like make something new.
and I find it's I saw this meme the other day. It said like you can produce an entire human in 9 months, but I'm still working on this stupid ankle injury from 3 years ago. It's like what is
Yeah.
it? How does that make sense?
Like once you hit 30 years old, everything just breaks
Yeah.
by itself. Yeah.
The ground is hard, huh?
Yeah, I just found that out recently. I was like,
So
you can't just throw my body around anymore? Okay.
so is that your first crash?
It's been my second on the street, and knock on wood, I haven't crashed badly at the track. So,
Not badly, but have a little.
um, not on track. I fell
Maybe in
over.
the pit lane.
I fell over. Yeah, that was it. So knock on wood, yeah, I've been pretty blessed not to crash on track.
That's
This was
good.
my second street accident. The other one was minor in comparison. So,
Yeah. All right. And there's been crashes where the handlebar doesn't technically touch the ground, but the rider is off the motorcycle now, so
yeah.
that's a crash too.
Yeah, my other accident was like I had gone on a ride with one of my friends. I actually used to ride to the hospital I worked at. I used to deliver babies, so I used to ride to work and then meet up for bike night afterwards. Um, he forgot something in his house, and he lived right over by where we were, and he's like, "Oh yeah, come with me." So we went. He didn't tell me the whole street was like milled up for repaving, but there was all of these huge manhole covers as we went to come down a hill and make a right, and it just hit it and tank slapped me and threw me right off the bike. But I ended up with a lovely aftermarket, really sharp mirror in my thigh,
Oh,
and that was about it. So
oh man.
some
Don't
bruises and just stabbed in my leg.
you don't want to get impaled too often.
Yeah, I had like just bought the bike, honestly, and I hadn't taken the mirrors off of it. And the guy that had it before me had these like pointy, like eye almost looking mirrors, but they're metal.
Oh man.
So when I went off, it just went right into my leg.
I've heard that one of the reasons you're not supposed to have a kickstand on the racetrack is for the risk of being impaled by it. But then again, you have all these other things that you need to have stationary and fixed, like rear sets and handlebar clip-ons.
Mhm.
So it's like, what if you have those lever guards? That kind of would be a deterrent for that happening.
Yeah. Which ones do you have on your bike?
I have lever guards. I think they're unbranded. I purchased it from a guy who already had them on there. So
Oh, okay.
I actually just
I have
looked
the
because
Woodcraft ones.
yeah, I've had the Whipcraft, I've had the Vortex. Um, I sell Bonamici,
Hmm.
um, but they're all so good. I mean, it's really just preference.
Yeah. I got them like right as I was signing up for Moto Girl, because I was like, I need to have them to go to race school. I was like, okay. So yeah, but they got them to me super fast, and I appreciate that.
Are
But
those
they were
uh
really easy to put on too,
are
which
those
is
mandatory now
for what, for CCS?
for Moto Girl or any of
Well,
them?
yeah, like I said, I don't think CCS brought Moto Girl back. So for CCS racing, you have to have a level guard. So
I think it's more of a safety thing.
Mhm.
But I've had it where me and a racer were going into a corner, and he was coming up the inside of me and kind of pushed me wide. Literally, he hit me with his bike and pushed me wide, and his part of his motorcycle got tangled up with my clutch lever,
Oh,
and I had a lever guard on it, but it didn't matter because if you're leaned over, it's more exposed than if you're straight up and
hmm,
down. So it completely engaged my clutch lever all the way to the bar, while I'm in a
Um,
corner with the throttle starting to open, and then, I don't have the presence of mind to pull in the clutch and slowly release it, so it just does it on its own, and it almost caused a big high side.
oh my God.
So they are guards, but they're not,
It's not
perfect.
like a full 360 coverage.
No.
Yeah. It's just like this little piece in the front. You're like, okay.
I hope that works. Yeah.
Well, hopefully no one lands on top of you like that anymore.
Yeah. No, it was we both came out of it. He got the position. I couldn't get it back that race, but we both stayed on the bike, and I'm happy to say that with all the contact that I've made and other people have made with me, I've never caused anybody to crash because of the contact that was made.
Oh, I mean, that's something to be said.
Yeah, never made anybody crash. I mean, some people might have ran off the track, but kept it up and kept going.
I mean, as long as you keep it up and keep going, that's all that matters.
Yeah. So
Same as the like following.
no worries. You're doing you've been doing some training indoors, riding indoors lately?
I just actually for Christmas last year, I just got a an indoor trainer.
Okay.
So that's something I'm looking forward to. But I had knee surgery in like July. So that's been something that's like definitely taken a little bit of time to rehab. I went like 3 days a week for PT. Um, it's just been a long road.
Yeah, I bet. Um
But that's what I'm looking forward to for the winter time because usually I'm pretty hardcore. Like I go to the gym like 5 days a week to like prep for race season. Well, track season, whatever, just to stay in shape. And like riding the bike this year is going to be a big help, I think.
so if you're not injured, you do a lot of cycling. Do you do any other like running or yoga, or what's your off season look like?
Just go to the gym, honestly. I think the Stairmaster is like the best machine ever. It's
Yeah.
just like your core, your legs, everything all at once. So
Gives you like good shape in the rear.
yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
um and so I saw you posting a lot of stuff on social media. You're pretty big on there and posting videos and photos and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's been an interesting adventure with Instagram. I'm like not really big on TikTok. I'm just a little bit older and haven't gotten to it. So Instagram's just, where I feel comfortable. Um, but yeah, it's a nice way to definitely connect with people because other women that ride or like there's some kids even that follow me who are like little racers and it's nice to follow people like you can watch them grow up and come into their own in riding um like Kayla
Yeah.
Yakov, like I've been watching her for like years on Instagram. Like that's so awesome, she's doing so well for herself and like that's what you want to see. Like I have a young daughter who's 8. She has a little dirt bike. Like I want her to be able to, she goes out on it, like enjoy yourself. Like if that's what you love, then go do it.
Yeah.
So it's a nice way to connect with people. Like we were introduced on social media, so like that's great. And it gives you like a nice base to just be within the community and within the country, honestly.
Yeah, and you can even do meetups, or like now you might know this person from social media, but then you see him at the racetrack, you're like, oh, I know that person now.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's kind of weird because like he'll be like, "Hey, don't you know who I am?" Like, I follow you on Instagram, and I'm like, "Well, I don't know what your name is. Like, you gotta,
Yeah.
what's
Or
your
they
handle? Can you tell me what your Instagram name is?" Or they'll be like, "Yeah, I follow you on Instagram," and I'm like, "Do you? Oh, awesome, thanks."
or they
It
might follow you,
depends.
but they never post their face, so you don't know what they even look like.
Or like sometimes, I mean, I'll have conversations with people. People message me all the time. Not always the nicest things, but social media. So, um, it's definitely interesting. And I feel like a lot of the guys who are on social media, like I don't know, I feel like the way that people interact with them is much different than how people interact with women who ride on social media.
Yeah, in a negative way.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of like talk in the community. People like there was like, oh, you have an OnlyFans? Like, I don't have an OnlyFans. It's not my deal. Some other people may like if that's what you're into, like good for you, go get it. I just work to make my own money. So
Sure. I mean, well, OnlyFans isn't just porn, right? It could be like athletes and all kinds of different
yeah,
celebrities or different
exactly.
artists.
Correct.
But I think it's
Like
mainly used for the nudity side.
extracurricular, yeah,
Yeah.
adult things. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I like the ability to connect with people wherever. And recently I've been seeing that like my reels get a ton of likes from India. I don't know how my
Oh yeah.
motorcycle stuff gets to India, but apparently now it's just taken off. So
Yeah, it's huge overseas. I have a big audience overseas too. I'm just looking at some of the stats right now. I think some of the biggest countries are kind of like eye-opening. It's like, how did that happen? How did they even see it? I got
yeah,
Bangladesh.
where does it come from that you're getting it like that? The
It's
algorithm.
Bangladesh, Germany, France, Ireland, Austria, UK, Canada, Greece, Ukraine, Australia, Nigeria,
Oh,
India,
that's awesome.
Hungary. It's like all over the place. I could keep going, but like it's like how did they even know about this?
Yeah, it's just what they, I guess, based on their likes and their interests, motorcycle racing.
Yeah, and it's I think it's bigger over there than it is over here because they
Oh, for
all
sure.
ride scooters and
Yeah.
mopeds and
Hmm.
motorcycles, and I think one of the barriers for getting more Americans in it is typically when you turn 16 you get a car, or 18, whatever
Hmm.
age it is, or you buy a car, your own money. But when I was 16, I my first car was a motorcycle. I bought a 2008 Kawasaki Ninja 250, and before I had a car. So my situation was a little different though. I got to drive my brother's car when I wasn't riding my motorcycle, and he didn't
Okay.
drive a ton when he was, that age. So um, it was helpful for me to not have to buy a car and to be able to have a little bit of a toy, but it's still transportation. It's like if your
Yeah. I
car breaks
mean,
down, you have another way to get there.
I wish I lived in an area where I could like ride all year round, but it's just so cold in the winter here and a little dangerous. So,
I'm pretty excited to move to somewhere way warmer. So you always hear like the off season never ends down south
I
or out
mean,
west.
I wish, yeah, like that's goals to be able to ride all year round.
So it's exciting to be able to move to a whole new place. I've moved, I think, 8 times, but always within the same 50 miles or so.
Okay.
Um, so I've never moved out of state. I don't have any family out west. So it's kind of like picking up your whole life and going 2,000 miles away is a little scary, but I
Definitely
don't,
a new adventure.
new adventure. I'm not afraid of making friends and talking to people. And when I'm at the racetrack and it's a new organization I haven't been to, maybe as a track marshal, I'm just going canopy to canopy. I don't know, I might know two people, but I don't know where they are in the paddock. So I'm just like
Hmm.
going canopy to canopy, just introducing myself and like saying what I'm doing. And good to meet you. Maybe I'll talk to you more later. But
It's
I
a nice
was
way to make friends, honestly. Like I have some of my best friends are from riding, and I think it's a great experience to go out into like a new place to do it. So I think you'll
yeah
have a good time.
yeah
Plus
and
it's Vegas. I mean, like you can't ever be bored in Vegas, can you?
I'm a little worried. Like, there's no natural disasters really. I mean, there might be sandstorms. I don't know if that's a thing anymore, but like,
Mhm.
there's no. I don't think there's many hurricanes or tornadoes. Maybe a little bit of earthquakes because it's close to California. But
Mhm.
um, drought seems like a
Drought,
big problem, and
drought.
high cost of living. Like, I know that they don't make anything in Vegas other than entertainment and casinos, right? So everything has to be trucked in from like states away. Like
Hmm.
a carton of eggs might be $5, but I'm gonna try it. Like, I can't turn down driving Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and
No,
Porsche for
no.
money, teaching
I
people
mean,
how to do that.
honestly, like you only have one life, and if you don't have a child or like something that needs to like keep you anchored somewhere, like get whatever you can get while you can get it because you only get like one chance.
Yeah, and this could be like a long-term career. They have like 7 levels of coaching pay.
Wow.
So
Mm-hmm.
there's like obviously gonna start at level one, but hopefully in a couple of years I'll be moving up that ladder and getting more hourly.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go
That's
to
awesome.
Vegas, people got money falling off of them when they walk in the door. Like they're looking to spend money. Um, and so it seems like there's a high tipping culture there. It's a
That's
service, you're
awesome.
providing a service. So hopefully make some good money in tips. And a couple of days before I was there for my interview evaluation, I think it was Jamie Foxx was there and was doing his laps in the supercars. So they have a leaderboard of all sorts of celebrities and sports stars. And like there's a lot of Vegas Golden Knight hockey players that are going there. So it'd be like the who's who of celebrities coming there too.
I mean, and you have like the possibilities are endless then.
Yeah, and then you might make a new friendship, and maybe I'll get Jamie Foxx on the podcast. How cool would that be?
Yeah, right. That'd be awesome. But like, you want to learn how to ride a motorcycle?
Yeah, I can teach you. I could be a private coach.
Exactly. That's awesome.
So it's just a logistical nightmare now. Like, what do I do with my washer and dryer? What do I do with my entire garage? Like all these different
Do you put it
things.
in storage? Do you move it in a pod? Like, what do you do? Yeah.
So I was looking into it just last night. I went down a rabbit hole of like rental trucks and gas mileage, and like maybe I'll get like an Airbnb 2 times along the road because it's like a 30-hour drive or something like that.
Oh, wow.
Um, so well, 30-hour drive in good traffic.
Yeah,
So
exactly. With no road work.
yeah, so I was thinking originally about the pod, but I think that's closer to like $5,000 um for 2,000 miles and all this stuff, and then I still have to drive there with my car and all that stuff. But um I think a budget rental truck is the cheapest option that I found because I don't have that much stuff. I have like a 1 bedroom with a living room, and I don't own the fridge and freezer, so I'll leave that here. I'm just renting right now. So
Hmm.
just the basement stuff, and I don't know if I'll even take that board with me. Maybe just leave it here. I don't know if it's worth it to bring all that stuff, but um, it's probably 2,500 to 3,000 for a budget rental truck, whether you're doing the 12-foot or the 16-foot, and it's only like $400 difference, even with
Yeah.
gas mileage from the 12-foot to the 16-foot. So I'm like, is it worth it? I could bring so much more with
Yeah.
for
I
only
usually
four
move
hundred
with like
dollars
a
more.
U-Haul truck
Yeah.
because I've
Um,
moved within state like a bunch of times, and like that was like the easiest.
I think those are maybe, I don't know. I haven't done a ton of research on the U-Haul, but I've had U-Hauls many times for in-state stuff. But I think it might be better for local moves rather than cross-country moves.
Probably.
Because they have more locations, but it might be a little bit higher price. I got to look into it. So
Well, I hope you wish you the best luck for that. I mean, that's like a definitely a great adventure that you should be excited for.
it's like a dream job
Mm-hmm. And
for
plus,
sure.
Superbike school goes out to California too in the
Yep.
winter, I think.
And I was
I
talking
mean,
to them.
and to Vegas. I'm sorry.
Yep, they do Vegas, Las Vegas
Hmm.
Motor Speedway. Um, and since I'm in Michigan right now, and they're headquartered in California, they said it would actually
Hmm.
be better for them if I'm out in California. Most of their events are probably West Coast related, and if they have dealer days or things that pop up, it makes more sense for them to fly me from Vegas rather than Michigan. It's a
Yeah,
lot cheaper for them. So I might be even involved in more activities for them since I'm out that way.
that's awesome. Well, now I
So
know who to ask for next time I go to Superbike school.
for sure. Hopefully I'll be able to coach you.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So yeah, one of the things you mentioned, you like being in a all women's group. Now I've talked to some other women who are like, I don't want that special treatment. I want to be with the big boys, and I want to be, right there with them. I don't want you to give me any handouts. So
Mhm.
there's always different schools of thought. Some of those people might be competing at a higher level, and they
Mhm.
just they just want to be just like the guys and not have a separate class.
I mean, if I was racing, I that's just how I got like into trying out for racing. If I was racing and I was racing at that kind of level, yeah, I would want to be competitive with everybody.
Right.
I'm just talking about as in like a coaching experience and like
Okay.
when it comes to riding. Um, just, body mechanics, things like that. Like our centers of gravities are different in when men and women. So like that takes into consideration how you move your body around on a bike too. Um, but like if it was racing, yeah, absolutely. I would probably want to be with everybody else, not just in a separate. That was just like how I kind of was introduced to it because I really didn't know before I started doing track days. Like I never watched Moto America. I didn't know about Moto GP. I got into like I wanted to start riding on track because I watched the Isle of Man and I was like, yeah, like that's what I want to do. I want to go fast.
Would you ever consider doing the Isle of Man?
I mean, I don't know. That's like and people like die on that every year. It's crazy. But like that's really like the kind of like riding I want to be able to do. But I think it's a little much for me.
Just don't crash.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I feel like it's a little much when I have a little person to be responsible for. That's like at the end of the day my priority. So
I feel like I would love to ride it at a brisk pace, but I don't know
yeah,
about race it at 100%. Like
exactly. I
I
would
don't,
love to ride it, but
yeah,
not race it.
and I don't know that all the racers are going 100% either. Like there's for even the fast racers have things that hold them back or these survival reactions that maybe they're not gonna if there's a brick wall in this one turn or a cliff, maybe you're not gonna go 100% there. It's about
Yeah,
managing the risk and doing it in a safe, controlled way.
risk and rewards.
Yep. And if there's someone ahead of you that's 10 seconds ahead of you on a regular track, and you got a big gap behind, and you only got 2 laps to go. Should you push to try to get that guy in front of you? Maybe not, or girl in front of you. So it's like, even though you could catch them if they make a mistake, it's about being smart about it and not burning up your tires because you might have 3 more races that day, and you're probably not going to catch them anyway. So
Yeah.
that was something I had to learn. It was like I always got to push 100%. Well, no, you don't. It's like based on the circumstances too. It's based on the road conditions and your position and the position of people around you.
And just because things have been good in the past doesn't mean that they're all going to be the same every single time you go around, even on a track, on the street, whatever. And I think that's a big thing a lot of people have had to learn. Like out here, there's a decent group of people who ride really, really well on the racetrack, and some of them even coach, and then unfortunately have major terrible road accidents, like doing just not cool, stupid stuff. Like, come on, like so much better. Like we could save people's lives really if you just really stuck to what is like the safest you could do it.
Right.
So unfortunately, that's a big thing. I think when people are like, oh, there's no difference, there's no difference. I can drag elbow on the street. Okay, but why do you want to take that risk? Like the cars come over the line. It's not just you. And the people don't give a dang about you. Like it's not like your track family. It's like, oh my God, it's like my friend. I don't want to hurt them. So
And I would say like I have never even tried to drag elbow on the street because you just don't have the same heat or grip in the tires that you would on the track using tire warmers.
yeah,
You just kind of risking it for the biscuit.
yeah. And like what are you really making out of it?
You're a track day winner, or no, you're a street rider winner.
Yeah. I won the street race. I mean,
Yeah.
great.
It's like
I
I wasn't
mean,
even racing you.
yeah. I'm just trying to have a good time, man. Yeah, but I don't know. I just think it's super dangerous, and I wish more of us would just take that into consideration. Like, I wasn't even doing anything bad, and look how hurt I got.
Yeah.
I was just like changing lanes on a bridge.
Sometimes it goes wrong real quick.
Absolutely, and definitely, I have a GoPro video of my accident. Someone else sent me. It's not even like from me.
Yeah, from
Like you
behind.
can, yeah, but they were like, I think it's like 3 or 4 people like back. Um, and you don't actually like see the person rear end me. You just hear it.
You hear see the aftermath
You
after
just
you
hear,
hear it.
and like it was so bad. And then you see me rolling, and like the other kid hit me. So I was like, oh, great.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge advocate for doing wheelies on the street, but if I ever ran for office, I think my slogan would be "Make wheelies legal again."
I was like,
I think there should be a dedicated place that riders can do wheelies and perfect their craft, and like even the racetrack, it's frowned upon, right? Because everybody's trying to go super fast, and if you're doing a wheelie, you might be slowing up more than usual. For people who don't know, it actually slows you down over a couple inches off the ground. It's detrimental, but it's just a fun skill to learn.
yeah. Actually, New York Safety Track does a like a stunt day. Like they have a different group of riders that come up, and they have like quads and bikes,
Hmm.
and you're allowed to wheelie on the track. They go like the whole track around, and they're just doing stunting, and it's really cool.
Maybe
Um,
drifting.
yeah, well, they have car days up there also.
Okay.
So it's a private track. It's not, it's not as big as NJMP, but definitely like super family oriented. Greg, the owner up there, is great. And yeah, they have just so many different days. It's really cool because like you have so many opportunities. Sometimes there's like cars and bikes the same day.
Hmm.
And like some of the cars that get up there are like crazy. So it's really fun to watch.
Yeah.
And the stunt days are cool too. So
And most people think they can only go to the track on the weekends, but most of these tracks are open almost
oh
every
yeah.
day of the year except for when there's snow on the ground.
Yeah. I mean, I think the one season I did like 43 track days and it was
Oh wow.
mostly during the week because I had nice summers and I didn't work weekends. So I got to start early because our season here starts like April, May-ish. It's still pretty cold in April here in the East Coast. Um and it goes to like September, October, depending. So
Yeah, I went to New Jersey this year as a track marshal for Moto America, and that was my first time there. It's a beautiful facility, but it
mhm.
sounds like people don't love the surface as much. So I heard they're going to be repaving it this year, which is exciting.
Yeah. So I actually hadn't ridden in New Jersey since they put that patch in. I did go down for some CCS racing and I saw the patch in the back over there. I heard a lot of complaints about it and then they repaved it again. And then I saw they're gonna like do some reconfiguring also. So they're gonna like repave and reconfigure everything.
Yeah, I think the third sector they're going to change the layout a little bit.
Yeah. Unfortunately though, like some of the pricing for the track days just got so ridiculous.
Mm,
It's like so expensive. If you don't have a membership, like they offer all these like you can do full season memberships like 3,500 bucks for like 45 track days. But then if you look at the days, if you are anyone that has a regular job, you can't just go like midweek.
right.
And they were giving all of their weekends to like private organizations. So why do I want to buy a full-time membership if you don't have any weekend days? You have like 3 weekends, 4 weekends, like that kind of stinks.
Yeah.
And then, you know, individual days are like over 380 bucks for just one day if you don't have a membership.
Right. And that's not including your tires or your transportation costs or your bike fuel
Nothing.
or a
Yeah,
potential crash damage or anything like
yeah,
that.
that's like ridiculous. So, yeah, but it's unfortunate, but like they haven't really adjusted for cost and hopefully they'll fix that down there because I heard a lot of bad things from CCS that they were not enjoying it.
So doing 40 some track days a season, I think is more than I've ever done in a season as far as track days. So I would say you're probably not a novice track person anymore.
No, I'm pretty like dedicated to it. During COVID, I actually was able to get I drove to Macon, Georgia to pick up a trailer. So like I have like a 16-foot Vino's enclosed trailer, like it's finished.
Nice.
It's
Got
got
that
AC
ramp
in
door
it.
in the back.
Yeah, it's got the checkerboard flooring in it. Super
Perfect.
nice. Yeah, I sleep in there. My daughter comes, the bike, I got a pipple restraint. It's super easy to put it in and out by myself. Everything's got wheels on it. So like it's like a mini like rolling hotel.
Heck yeah. And you probably don't need to get a hotel too often because you got sleeping quarters in there.
Yeah. Well, I like I said, I do everything. We sleep in there and it's pretty awesome. The air
Awesome.
conditioning is furiously freezing. It's so cold.
Do you
Even
have
in the
like
summer sometimes. Two blankets.
a fridge,
Yeah.
kitchen in there?
I have a fridge and it's like a smaller freezer. It's like bigger than like a dorm room one though, so I can actually like put stuff in it. And then I just have a flat top grill or an electric griddle that I cook on outside.
So how do you
So,
keep that fridge cool in the transport? Is it hooked up to like a generator or a power unit?
oh no, usually I'll get stuff or put it in a cooler, and then when I get there, I just load everything in there.
Okay.
So like if I'm in New Jersey or like New York Safety Track, they all have like supermarkets pretty close to there, so I'll just stop on the way in and then throw it all in. So I have like a 50 amp service on there. So I
All
can
right.
plug into basically anything, or I have a generator which I hook up to it.
Okay. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Mm-hmm.
And
I got all
then
this stuff.
yeah, got all the things.
I
And then
do.
you wanted to talk about one of the things you wrote down was sponsorship without racing, I think.
Oh yeah. So since I only did 2 races, and actually I got my sponsorship after I was done racing. Um, it's just like how you present yourself to the community of people. I like to keep, my self-image, as I'll say. Professional. I like to be involved in the community. I don't want to not show up for things, and I like to be like a part of it. That's the whole thing. Like riding has been my life for so many years. It's just like part of me, and I don't just wear like my sponsorship clothes or like motorcycle clothes when I do motorcycle stuff. It's like every day. I'm always
Yeah.
in my gear. So it's like, all right. And that was a big thing because a lot of people are like, oh, how do you get sponsors? I don't have sponsors. I'm like, it's really about how you present yourself. If you want to be professional and you want to have sponsorships and work with other companies, this is an investment. Like they're paying you to help promote their brand and promote their company. And I think that's a big deal, is how you come across to other people. And a lot of people I don't think realize that.
Yeah, and I think it's not about your race results. I mean, yeah, it helps if you're like
Correct.
finishing, first in championships, that's great. But if you have a good audience and you have a following, whether you're racing or not, and people are watching you and engaging with your content, that matters too.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's easy to engage with people if you just put like a little bit of effort into it. Like make an educational video, put yourself out there a little bit. It's not difficult, but you don't have to like give all the secrets away all the
Yeah, and someone told me years ago, like, you want sponsorship, get in front of a mic and start talking.
time.
That's what I'm doing now.
Yeah, which is awesome, right? And like look how well you're doing. So
Yeah, thank you. It's not exactly going viral, but I think it's close to 60,000 views or more so far,
which is super awesome.
which
Makes
is
us a
cool.
little nervous.
Yeah. I mean, it's not on one video. That's like all the videos for
Yeah,
all of
but
the
still, like that's
platforms.
awesome.
So it's growing, it's getting better. I think the setup's getting better. I finally have a good mic I'm using and a decent
Mhm.
camera. And it took me a while to get this whole camera thing figured out, external from your laptop, because I found out you have to have, hopefully I don't screw it up while I'm doing this. It's a video capture card, HDMI.
Oh, wow.
You have to have like this adapter before it even sync to your computer, I found out. So I
Oh,
bought one. I bought the cheapest one I could find on Amazon, and it would work for like 30 seconds, and then get to like this blank screen type of thing. So I was like, well, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I think this one's broken. So I just returned that one. I got a couple of dollar more capture card and going with it.
oh, see, I didn't know.
And for the longest time, like, you don't have to have a fancy mic or a camera. Like, I was just using my laptop for like 100 episodes.
Oh,
Um, so you don't have to do anything fancy. Um, but it's like I want the production value to be as high as possible, because my content, I feel like, might be lacking at this point. Some people, their content is fantastic and they don't need the production value. But
hmm
you know what I'm trying to say?
Oh no, absolutely, yeah. I have a friend who has a YouTube channel, and he spends a lot of time on it. I mean, like a lot of time, and it's always editing and like this thing and that thing, and but it's mostly like rolling on street videos.
Okay. Like vlogging.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So but it's a different avenue of things besides what you're doing as in the podcast.
Yeah, and this really is very little editing. Probably only edit out like a quick break, and that's about it.
Hmm.
Unless there's something we talked about that you're like, oh, I don't want that out there, and then I'll cut that out.
Don't tell anyone.
um, so I'm okay with being controversial too. Like, I feel like that could help boost the reach, in some ways, but you don't want to be stepping on people or going too far with it.
Yeah, there's a very thin line between pissing everybody off and saying what you want,
Yeah,
I feel.
and after 7 days of content, if you put it all together in the last 2.5 years, I'm sure I've said something that's irritated somebody. It's just like, you got to deal with it, and hopefully I learn and get better as I go.
I mean, you can't make everybody happy all the time.
Right.
As long as you're doing it for yourself and you're enjoying it, then like that's really all that matters.
Yeah, and I'm learning a lot from doing this, just talking to people, and I hope other people are learning things too about the community, and hopefully inspire other people to do similar things. One of the latest podcasts I just did will be out in the next day or two, was with Chris and Jules over at Pin the Gas podcast.
Mhm.
And they're a newer podcaster group that's putting out content. They've already podcasted with some big names in the industry. and we just collaborated together.
Oh,
And
that's awesome.
now I'm gonna go on their show as well. So it's like you come on mine, I'll come on yours. You know, we both
Oh,
help each
cool.
other out.
That's great.
So I can't talk for too much longer. I actually have another podcast coming out in
Okay.
40 minutes or so. So
Okay.
got two back to back today.
Awesome. Thank you for having me again. I was like super pumped to do it. Sorry, I've been like allergies. I had a kind of a rough week. My grandma passed away, so we had the funeral last week, and it's been like I'm just getting ready
Yeah,
to go back to work from surgery I had in October. So
yeah, it's a
it's
lot
it's
coming
been a
all
long
at
road.
once
Yeah. So
for sure.
I really appreciate you having me on and working with me scheduling wise.
Hey, no worries. I'm happy to talk, and thanks for coming on. And I'm sure I'll see you at the racetrack
Thank you so much. And hopefully maybe if I can get out to Vegas, yeah, you can help coach me.
for sure. I'll make it
Thank you
happen.
so much. All right. It
All
was
right,
good talking to you.
you too. Bye bye.
Thanks so much. Bye.